I think it's like a funny little thing where they have like
some sort of free recording.
Yeah, some kind of pre-recording banter or some kind of just bullshit that they don't intend to be on, but since it's there anyway, well, we gotta put it in, and they use it, they chuck at the beginning as like some stupid thing, and then
B-roll.
Yeah, exactly. But for every fucking episode. It is the 8th of November, 10:54 PM, and this is episode 2 of Chinese Whispers. Today I'm here joined with Dennis and Pat. Guys, how you doing? Good. What have you been up to, Pat? Tell us what you've been up to since you were last on the show.
Last on the podcast, Dennis, Michael, and myself, we've been meeting up a few times to prepare for our first short skit, and that's gone pretty well. We've got a lot of our side of it arranged and prepared, but it's now just the talents, so that's a big problem because they pretty much make the thing happen. And so that's pretty much what I've been up to, and a bit of dance rehearsal for tomorrow's crossover showcase event.
Very nice. It's a dancing place.
It's a dancing place thing. K-pop.
Oh, I actually a part of a K-pop routine. Oh my god, this changes everything.
Maybe
dirty. No, actually, it's a dirty pleasure of mine. Keep doing it.
Dynamic duo.
I'll just sit here shaking my head at the both of you.
But just in case for anybody who hasn't listened to the first episode yet, Pat, Dennis, and Michael, who's not here today, they're a trio who's working together on some short video projects, short skits and such. It's an interest of theirs, and yeah, they're just filming some stuff, some projects, see how they go, hone their skills. So I'll link their stuff when it's done, I guess.
When you have a name.
Yeah, and when they've come up with a name for this studio or collaboration or whatever you want to call it, they actually don't have a name yet. And I've been trying to help Dennis out with that shit, but he's just the block. He's just the black hole. He's unreceptive.
The names are so comedic.
Yeah. Basically, he doesn't appreciate the amount of effort I go to help him. So, very lucky. But yeah, okay, no, that's cool. So that's what you've been doing. Okay, well, cool. What about you, Dennis?
I've pretty much been, working with Pat for a while, Michael, doing a couple of writing some shorts on my own, and still contemplating whether I want to join the workforce and look for an actual job or not.
It's good to see that.
Henry?
Oh, what have I been doing? Oh, why you're so kind to ask me? I thought I was waiting for it. What have I been doing since the last podcast? I've been just trying to fill up the blog with a bit more content. Wrote an extra article or two. Don't know if anybody's ever seen it. I think one of them I wrote my own kind of skit thing, if you can call it. And that was just one night where I got home, I couldn't sleep, and I was like, I want to write something, and I did. And then it took me 6 hours, but then I did it in one go. Yeah. So I did that, and not much else really. No. Early on in the week, I told you as well. I don't know if I told Dennis. I think I told Dennis, but I went to some conference thing at UCID. Yeah, it was about. Nah, fuck, I won't talk about it. But I had to go because of my PhD. But it turned out good. It was a constructive and productive day. And now we're here. Yeah. So, anyway, for the second episode of Chinese Whispers, we were originally going to talk about education, the education system, what we thought about it. But last minute, I decided to change it to something a little bit more interesting. So this episode we're going to be talking about meeting people. We'll take it from there. Meeting people. I mean, not necessarily relationship kind of way, but just meeting people in general. Like meeting new people or whatever, talking to people for the first time or whatever, like how do you guys go about it? What goes through your mind? Stuff like that. So I don't know. Let's start with you, kind of. Yeah. So I guess how do you go about meeting people? Do you usually like I guess to break it down, like do you initiate or is that dependent on anything or what?
Like I guess if it's, let's say, mutual friends, if we go out with a bunch of friends and they bring along friends that you don't know, I guess like I'll try to be in my mind, like I would want to initiate in order to keep things from becoming a bit awkward, because there is sort of, I feel there is this it's like this period of time very early on when you first meet someone that you need to ask,
like a window of opportunity.
Where you need
get
to
their
ask
name at the very least.
like the name.
Remember their name. That's a whole nother fucking challenge.
Exactly. And then once you've passed that window, it's like it feels really awkward to sort of go back and ask, at the end of the meeting, sorry,
by the way, what was your
by the
name?
way, especially when you've already engaged in somewhat deep conversation with them, as you probably would, in a group of friends. You build this sort of relationship very quickly with them through a conversation, and then you forget the vital information like the name and what they do. So
I don't think it's so vital though. I actually really don't think names are a vital thing. Like,
I don't think so as well.
I mean, like, I go when I went dancing a lot. When I went dancing a lot, right? I would always go to entertainment center or go to crossover, and I meet up with a bunch of like b-boys, right? And I see them week in, week out, but I don't know any of their names. Like, I barely remember half of them. But like the fact that we all rock up, the fact that we're all like jovial with each other and we can talk if we really want to, but we're sharing a moment with each other.
Coexisting at the same time in space together. Like some.
No, but we're all dancing together, we're all having fun. So it's sort of like the activities bring us together, and the name is secondary.
Yeah.
Like all the facts are secondary.
I feel it's courtesy and respect to them.
It is courtesy and respect.
Yeah, it's more for them than for yourself. Kind of
myself.
Yeah. I definitely feel the same way as well, meeting people. I jump back and forth on the point as well. Just to speak to Dennis's point, I agree with him to some extent, like the name doesn't matter too much, it's all about,
the interaction.
The interaction, that kind of like unspoken connection, if there is one. Like, it's strange that I talk about it this way, like when you meet people, for me at least, I feel like now, I can kind of get a sense of, will we get along? Like, I kind of feel like an aura,
Engage,
like some kind of chemistry, like, will it work? Like, are they interested in meeting people in the first place? Like, shit like body language, their arms closed, are they like not paying attention to me or like stuff like that? So in the first impressions, like, I feel that out first, but in terms of the nitty gritty, name, introduction, who do you know? Where are you from? What do you do? All that mundane interview question and stuff. I don't bother with that too much. But yeah, of course it depends on the situation. Like if it's very recreational, mutual friends or whatever, then like you said, Pat, it's more out of respect and just to diffuse any potential awkwardness kind of thing, like just to cover your base kind of thing. But yeah, obviously in a more professional setting, you go through the motions, you don't half-ass it, so to speak. First impressions count. The saying goes. Sometimes I believe in that, sometimes I don't. It's I'm like, yeah, I believe in that in certain situations. Otherwise, it's like, no, I don't really care.
I believe first impressions always count. First impressions always count to how you view somebody, no matter what. And even if you think in your mind that it doesn't, or like you want to retract from it, you going out with them the second time, or you it's all based off whether you had a good connection the first time, or like you bumping into them and seeing them across the street and actually going over and talking to them. That all depends on whether you had a good time the first time. But here's the question to you guys: when do you reckon? I mean, it's going to be different for every person. But when do you reckon meeting a new person for the first time? When does that new period finish?
I don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
Well, I mean, like, meeting somebody for the first time and then classifying them as a friend, when does that period at the very beginning say, like, this is my new friend, sort of finish? Like,
Do you want
Does
to
it even
take it
finish,
first on
or-
that?
Or does it just...
Actually, no. I'll answer this. For me, there's no obviously no set time period. Again, for me, it goes a lot like you. So, for example, Pat, I've only known him. Well, I've known of him for a very long time. Going back to Dennis's point, like I knew he existed. We danced together and stuff. I didn't know if we weren't formally introduced and stuff like that, but I knew that he existed. But only very recently, I met him in the most strictest sense, where I reached out and said hello, and we actually had a proper conversation. But going back to what Dennis said, that new friend period, for me, it just again depends on the feeling, the connection that I feel with the person. Whether it's the first time with me or the second time with me or whatever. If at a certain point I feel like I'm connecting on that person on a level that I feel is more than what's beyond that of an acquaintance, then that's it. That's
The cutoff.
like the kind of the threshold. Like
Or
from there on, in
transition.
my mind, like for me personally, in my mind, that yeah, I can get that connection with them. I consider them a friend. I can't necessarily say it's the same for them, but for me personally, that's how I decide. And funny point I want to bring up earlier on for recording this podcast, I was having dinner with Dennis, and Dennis was asking me hypothetically if you're on the first date and with somebody, are there any topics that are off limits? Or have you asked them before?
Yeah.
So Pat knows, yeah. My short answer was no. I can talk about anything and anything because I'm not going to place these kind of restrictions on myself. I don't give a shit. Like if I can connect on you on the very first date, then it's like fast forward kind of thing. Like why, tiptoe around the issues, so to speak, and shit like that. Like what you see is what you get with me, babe.
I mean, why hold things back?
Yeah, exactly. Like
Everybody holds things back. Like this
because
goes...
they're a bitch.
Yeah, no, it's true. Everybody's insecure and everybody's...
Well, I'm not.
Okay. Well, we're not all Henrys, okay? Okay?
I don't
Okay.
give a fuck.
Like, I'm writing a story right now, and it's a guy meeting a girl in a bookstore, basically. And basically, they start chatting, and the idea is that when two people meet for the first time, right, they're always lying to each other. And the reason that my mentality, like, for saying that is...
No, we're talking about your script right now, right?
My script.
This is your idea for your
This is
script.
an idea for my script, but I always translate it from like what I experienced. So in my mind, everybody's lying to each other when they first meet.
Yeah, my name's
Right?
not really Henry.
Of course, it's not. This
Neither
is your
is
false
Pat.
name.
Pat's
This is
not
your,
really Pat
this is your
either.
pen name. No, but we always lie because we want to show the best of ourselves. We want to show the smartest, the wittiest, the funniest, sides of ourselves, so that people will like us, so we will seem agreeable, And there's always that lie. And although you might say, like, you're completely comfortable talking about whatever, right? There's topics that you don't discuss. There's topics people avoid specifically. And of course, if somebody's...
Again, not me. You can talk to me about anything.
Yeah,
just
okay.
for the record.
But some people are very touchy on specific subjects that you should stick clear of, That not everybody's comfortable talking about.
Like the first podcast, marriage.
But like that's what I think is sort of like a distracting side of meeting people. That you don't get.
So do you want to or not want to meet people?
Well, I'm typically shy, right? I'm typically shy, and I don't go out of my way to really meet new people. I just meet people through friends and friends of friends, pretty much. But
See, no, you keep going. I'll remember. I'll get to my point later. Keep going.
But I mean, that doesn't stop me from being able to, talk to co-workers and things like that, and try to create a friendship there, But that being said, I still have that issue where I'm not being completely honest. I'm not showing them the side of me that's outside of work. I'm showing them the professional sense of me at work. I'm still lying in that sense, and I'm still being something I'm not being.
See, that's the thing. This goes back, to my point of how, even if it's the first meeting, I just, like, what you see is what you get with me, because in some ways you don't want to set yourself up to it's kind of like lies built upon lies to be dramatic, because you don't want to like one day show that part of yourself and then surprise people like, whoa, I didn't know that side of XYZ existed, kind of thing.
I understand that, and I would agree that that's what you would want. It's sort of like, if you're confident enough in yourself, then why don't you show yourself to the world? And then the people that actually are okay with that are people that you're going to engage with anyway, you know? But as I said before, not everybody is as confident as that they can portray that person all the time.
In some ways, I like to think of it as a litmus test, like a test for the potential relationship or whatever it be, like if it's going to work out or not. So as much of it as it is for me, you know, just being myself and doing whatever, it's also a test to see if that other person can
handle my shit.
Yeah, can handle my shit. Like, yeah, something like that. What do you think, Pat? What about you? Like, are you the shy type or are you the type who initiates? Because Dennis said he's the shy type.
Definitely the shy.
I'm actually pretty shy as well.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty shy. But you know, I try not to be. So that's when I put on my fake self, and that's when I initiate. Even though I don't really feel the need to sometimes, or I don't really want to. I'm not comfortable to. But like I feel like I should. You know, if I want to, even, you know, it's more for, like, I think a lot about the other person than really myself.
Yeah.
And that's just
what do you think about for the other person? Like, what do you mean by you think about them?
Just so that I seem normal, I guess, and like every other person.
But you're not like everyone.
I'm not like every other person.
You're unique. Come on.
And I don't know why I do that. Like,
I think it's more, okay, I'm extremely shy, so I don't really go out of my way to really talk to people, you know? But if I'm with a close group of friends, for example, and there's always one person that's invited that doesn't know anybody else, then of course I'll try and make an effort, you know? Of course I try to make an effort at work, or I try to make an effort, you know, when I'm at a party or something like that and I only know a couple people, I try to make an effort. But that being said, most of the time I'm too shy, I just don't want to. Like, most of the time I feel this pressure to put on this facade that I'm just too tired to always put on.
You heard it here. If Dennis doesn't talk to you, it's because he's too tired.
It's pretty true, actually.
It's a lot of work.
Too tired of you before he's even met you.
It's too tiring just talking to people. I mean, it's 11 o'clock now, and I just feel like sleepy.
Nah. A lot of it comes down to what you talk about. If you talk about the same mundane shit, then you don't even want to get involved.
As I said, you can't always force this button.
What do you mean? Somebody's got to. It's either you or the other person, and you can't always place it on the other person. Like, I'm gonna wait till they're like, they don't talk about it. I'm gonna talk about it. I don't know. It's just me.
Place it on the other person to like initiate conversation.
To initiate conversation,
to keep up flow.
It's like a two-way street. I mean, if you talk to them, they should talk to you. And if they talk to you, you should talk to them. At least out of direct courtesy.
Like, again, for me, it's just like a test. Like, you can tell from the very fucking first sentence you utter to the other person. The body language, the way they respond, whatever. You can tell that instantly, like, whether they actually want to talk to you or not. And then from there, you can stop if you want, or you could continue or whatever. There's, like, nothing to be. You just need to know yes or no kind of thing. And then that will inform your decision. Not lack of action kind of thing. Remember? Like, we've been through this before. I'm the kind of guy who no regrets and shit. YOLO. Swag.
420. Blaze it.
What about... So that's just meeting people in general, but what about you guys meeting the other sex?
The other sex. Now that's something else. It's a very complex issue. I guess depends how you feel when you see
Depends
them.
how drunk I am.
Yeah. Usually, like, if
you buy Dennis a drink, he won't be tired at you.
Yeah, at all. Especially if you're female.
It's your male, it's alright.
Being like the shy types, if it's hard enough generally, then maybe for girls it's even more of a challenge.
It's much more of a challenge for me.
So
Well, I don't know. You're in a relationship right now, so
Yeah, how did it happen?
there should be less pressure, right?
well, yeah, like definitely, like until that's established, I guess so. But there is sort of a barrier that I put just so that I'm not leading someone on.
Yeah.
I'm not too friendly.
You're not leading somebody on,
You know,
or
I don't talk about. I keep it quite casual and really mundane, really. Yeah. just to prevent things from escalating the central way.
Because any
All the
deep,
women are just
cause any,
jumping all over you, Pat.
cause any deep and you'll be forced to lie. Is that what you're saying?
I know. It's too much trouble having 2 feet on a foot on separate boats. It's hard. Not speaking from experience. So yeah, like I just try and think of them as somewhat normal.
just as if they were anybody else.
If they were anybody else, I'm not trying to.
Not that they're just a girl, but just anybody else.
But whether I do is another thing, you know. But that's what I try to. But it is sometimes I feel it's easier though, like with girls because you're the opposite sex, so there is a tendency to be okay with things. With sort of guys, it's a lot of like comparing sometimes and like really
Who's the alpha male?
who's the alpha male, dick sizes, you know, how many chicks you fucked and stuff. But with girls, you can ask them.
Boob sizes.
I feel it's more comfortable to ask topics and get into topics that are a bit more deep with girls
I agree.
than it is with guys sometimes.
I'd be a great girlfriend for you, Dad. Just saying, maybe.
Shit. Better go to Thailand. But yeah, how about you guys? With the opposite sex.
Nah, again,
Henry's just
same
Henry.
for me.
It doesn't
I just
matter.
like you to say whatever. I just whip it out. Like, when in doubt, whip it out. Like, right? I don't know. No, but if anything, I still approach it the same way, but for my
Your
experience,
voice changes.
What?
Oh, hi. Thank you.
Do you put it even more on? Like, do you, if it's an
Nah.
attractive girl, do you like to have your way to be Henry 100%?
Nah. I'd like to think I'm the same old Henry. Maybe you guys just gotta hang around me while I'm being Henry around the girl, and you can tell me if that's any different. But I'd like to think it's the same Henry with friends and compared to with me. I find with girls less. I speak to them the same way. I initiate things the same way, but I feel a lot of them are too stupid.
Oh.
They don't even react the same way that guys do, and that just makes me sad. It kind of makes me wish I was gay, so then I could have good conversations with guys. Nah, it doesn't make me think that.
What? That doesn't make sense. We're having a good conversation with Oscar, guys. What the fuck?
What I'm saying is, a lot of the girls that I've come across, I'd very much like to have conversations with them, but let's say that they are willing and they do talk, but
They come from a very superficial side of it? Or?
no, not even superficial. They're just fucking dumb. To put lack of a better term, like they can't carry the conversation. It's got nothing to do with superficial enough. They just can't carry the conversation, and that makes me a little bit sad. That's just my experiences.
Okay, my experiences with talking to girls is more that if I'm talking to girls about, I don't know, deeper, more meaningful topics, they actually have quite a good point of view, a different point of view. They're much more pragmatic in a way, and that's why they don't talk about it as much, because they already have a solution to an actual problem. You know, that's how I feel about things. So before the girls I've talked, I had the luck of talking to, since I'm so shy that I won't talk to anyone, or too tired. You know, like that's how I feel. But in talking to like girls in general, or like approaching girls in general, like I'm not getting out of my way. Like I'm too shy for that. You know. Do I act differently?
Forever alone.
Pretty
I
much.
just want to drop that.
Pretty much.
Forever.
But happily alone. You know. I would say that
4-year-old virgin. I want to drop that too. 4-year-old.
that's his favorite film, man.
It's one of my favorite films. Holy shit, I love the shit out of that film. Oh my god. If you're a girl and you love that film, here's my number.
It'll be in the description.
As I was saying, I like to think that I don't treat them any differently, but of course I still already have my barriers up. Actually, I was
He'll
talking-
lie to you just the same as he lies to guys.
everyone. I lie to everyone, But actually, it's actually interesting because I was talking to one of my friends about this not too long ago. She's a girl, and we were talking about if she's talking with the opposite sex, how many barriers does she keep? And she said that she keeps up a lot of barriers because I guess
Just with guys in general,
Just
or guys
with
that
guys-
she likes.
guys in general.
Okay.
Just because you never know what they're capable of, or like something stupid along those lines, like which feels stupid to me, but I mean, I'm a guy, so it's not going to happen to me. Or I don't feel like it's going to happen. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. But
It's just like some kind of really subtle joke about rape. I don't know, like what's going on. Like, we don't know what guys are capable of. And then I hear Taco wink, wink, and like, what? What do you mean? What are you talking about?
Big buff guys.
Like, see, this is what I mean. Like, this chick, like, I'll fucking bring this up. Like, I don't give a shit. and the fact that you guys are laughing with it makes it all okay. Just kidding. The R word is never okay. But as a talking point, yes.
Yeah.
But like that's her take on things, There's always some sort of barrier that she has to keep up around guys. And I guess
Is she single?
no, she's had a boyfriend for a couple months now.
Is she still like that after having the boyfriend? Was there any change in this keeping the distance thing that you're saying
I haven't asked
before
her
or after?
because
I think you should ask her. I think it's probably changed some things.
yeah, it probably has.
If it hasn't, then she's just
She's in a bad relationship.
probably, maybe, yes.
That's an interesting topic. How the way you treat the opposite sex changes once you're in a relationship.
Yeah.
Especially if it's your first relationship. There's a lot that you learn, I guess, from the opposite sex.
Can't flirt with this girl. Can't chat her up.
What about early on? How I mentioned I went to the conference and we used it, and that was probably one of my. I consider my first real proper networking opportunity where I actually went out on my way to try and establish those contacts, etc. Where I did try to what's the word?
Network.
Yeah, network, as I said. Yeah, but from that first event, incident, whatever you want to call it.
Did you feel like a whore? Were you
No, I
selling
didn't.
yourself out to the meat market?
No, like I said, for the third time, like what you see is what you get with me. I still very much acted the same way, albeit more restrained, but the sentiment is still there. Like even if you did see me in this professional version of me, quote unquote, I think you'll still be able to identify. Yeah, this is very much Henry flavor. Like if I wear a mask, you'll still be able to tell. Yeah, that's Henry because I recognize his voice. So, but you know what I mean. But anyway, what I'm trying to say is, I found the few people that I did talk to, at least they were very much in the same kind of boat where they I don't know what I'm trying to say. This is gonna be edited out. Yeah, I don't know what I was trying to get at there. I'll get back to it.
You were like networking.
In the same boat as
Like everybody's trying to network.
Oh, okay. No, yeah, that's right. The point that I wanted to make was, the contacts that I did make, the people that I did speak to, at the end of it, the conclusion of the event, it felt like, the business aspect of it, the professional aspect of it, that wasn't apparent anymore. Like it wasn't there in my mind at least, and I don't think it wasn't there in mine. Like by the end of it, like we just got comfortable with each other, and from that, I think a lot of people do prefer that more
Honest.
intimate, honest, personal kind of thing. Even though the initiation was, conference, business, all professional. underneath, I think everybody would much rather prefer that you know,
Casual,
casual, that casual aspect to it. At least in the way that you go about it. It might still very well, be business, but still go about it in a casual way, if that makes any sense.
Semi-business, very casual.
Yeah, so it doesn't feel stifling kind of thing. Yeah, I don't know. Right now, I'm just thinking of Asian businessmen for some reason, how they do business in karaoke bars, and then there's strippers and shit like that, and they get drunk, and I don't know.
I wonder how they can still do business. It's so much fun related to that sort of scenario.
Strippers for your birthday, Pat. Now we know the way.
But do you think that was very much due to the people there? In a sense, like, it could have very well been a different group of people who still kept the barriers the whole way through. Or you just may be lucky you were
Met
around
and
a bunch
talk to the right
were
people.
like-minded and had
I think I definitely gravitated towards those who, again, I felt that aura where they were open to it, even though they weren't necessarily initiating. I felt that they were open to it because, like going back to your point, there at the conference at the event, there were definitely people that I felt were putting up those walls. Like, I don't even know why, because it's a fucking conference. You're supposed to like network and talk. It's not even that. Like, it just made no sense the things that they were doing, or like, that subconscious, that subtle level. Like, I don't understand. Like, why are you doing this? Like, why are you even here, kind of thing. Yeah.
If you're gonna be like
It kind of like defeats the purpose of But that's one of the things that I learned from that experience. And because before that, I was a little bit nervous. Like, I wonder what's going to happen. I wonder what the people are going to be like. From that unfamiliarity. But then within the first half an hour or an hour, I could tell, this is actually just kind of the same as any other, person-to-person interaction. It's just under a veil. And when you remove the veil, everybody's naked.
So you picture everyone naked.
I don't know.
and maybe it was you. Maybe you were the one that people gravitated to. And then, but you thought that they were like that, and you gravitated to them. So it was like it was a two-way street. But you never know.
All relationships are two-way streets. It has to be that way. At least the good ones. The ones you keep.
And I think it's important to, in terms of just meeting people, it's important. Well, for me at least, I feel it's always constantly meeting new people because just to broaden my horizons and scope of understanding and empathy and everything. I always like that challenge of meeting new people, getting to know them. One thing that I realized with a lot of people I know, they get comfortable with their own social circles, and then that's it. And not so much to criticize it, but I also feel at the same time I'm kind of confused that, like, obviously you don't need to have like millions of friends, you don't need to be that super popular dude, but what I'm trying to say is, like, I don't see the reason to stop going out just to meet people. You don't need to necessarily be best friends with them, but the fact that you just know other people.
I think
and I see this, and I see this trend, obviously as people get older, they work and whatever, they get married, and then it just fucking stops. It's like a dead end. It's like shit cut short, and then over a period of time, they lose these interpersonal kind of skills, and they can't meet new people anymore because they're so out of practice and they're so rusty. And
that's what swingers clubs are for.
Anyway, coming from their side to play devil's advocate, they might say something like, all the friends I'll ever need, I have enough people that I can confide in, whatever, but I still feel like it's a very important skill to have, just to keep in touch with just being in person, if that makes any fucking sense. Like, not to get too comfortable, not to complacent in your own little comfort zone with your group of whoever, as nice or as great as they may be. I know, again, this might just be me and my own personal values of continuously putting myself out there and challenging myself and whatever, but that's what I feel, at least. And in some ways, I feel this ties back into the previous podcast ending point about marriage, how Ivan said, never stop courting, keep working at it. I still feel that it's the same case with a lot of other domains about life, whether it's work kind of thing. You know, keep trying to have some ambition, have some passion, keep trying to get a little bit more, work your way up, stuff like that. And on the social side, you know, keep trying to be good. And yeah, I don't know. See a lot of overlap.
Yeah.
Don't be complacent.
But I feel like it's not something that people may think of that much, in the sense that
Until it's too late.
yeah, maybe they just sort of go through life and they take whatever is thrown to them, and they're not aware that they should keep up this and aware of the consequences of not doing that. Especially after the periods of schooling, like high school or college, if that's the route that they choose, where there is an emphasis on meeting people and getting close with people within your classes and stuff. After that, there probably there's not much more thought of meeting more people after that. Maybe they feel, I don't know what I'm trying to say.
But I think what you're trying to say is like they only see that short-term end goal. Like they don't see how that interpersonal communication, interpersonal skill translate over through to other areas where they just focus on that immediate thing that might be important to them. Like I don't know, for example, just I've got a girlfriend. All I need to do is communicate with her perfectly, and anything else is secondary kind of thing. And then when the girlfriend's gone, they're like, oh my god, now I've got nobody to talk to. Where'd all my friends go? I don't know how to meet people anymore. I'm in a dead-end road. I'm gonna be single for the rest of my life. Kind of thing.
It's a big trap.
Yeah.
Treat your friends well.
Exactly,
Even
yeah.
if you're in a relationship.
Yeah. And this is another thing. This is another thing that I think about. I have some friends who, once they get together with a partner, girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever, they kind of just disappear off the radar.
They go to the couple land.
They go to couple land, but the thing is, it's like they're imprisoned there. They can't get out of couple land because I call them and they never return my call. No, I'm kidding. And yeah, it's like, I mean,
become one entity.
yeah. And just to make it clear, it's not like I'm cut or anything. Like, oh, I lost a friend. Oh, boo-hoo, boo-hoo. It's more like I'm worried for them because
You feel sorry for them.
Yeah.
Not feel sorry, but like, yeah, you're
it kind of feels like yeah, I'm happy for you, and you might think this is what you want, but like later on, since there's that gap there, it's like, whoa, what happened, man? Like, did it have to be this way? Like, I don't know. Like, I guess what I'm trying to say is that balance. Yeah.
Were these friends Asian? Was this guy Asian? I think culture plays
most
a lot.
most of my friends are Asian, so just by probability alone, I guess yes to answer your question. Yeah.
I think like with
And
I feel Asian girls are more attached. Like once they get in a relationship, so you go, oh, remember.
No, I've got nothing to say. I actually don't have a point.
Just you can interject one interjection at any point.
Counter your counter.
Count.
Very fast. But go on.
But I don't know. I feel even I'm not so much familiar with Australian Asian girls, but like Asian girls, I feel once they get in a relationship, they very much invest all their time into the male counterpart of that relationship.
It's kind of like the misdistribution of attention or resources in some way.
And then that affects the guy in turn.
Yeah,
Because the
guy then feels obligated to reciprocate, and
reciprocate,
then it's like a fucking downward spiral
It is
of
a downward
despair.
They're digging each other's holes, basically.
Yeah, that's a very poignant metaphor. I like that. They're digging each other into holes. I just
I help myself.
I don't know if you did that on purpose, but I'm gonna appreciate it nonetheless.
So yeah, I think like with Asians, at least of what I know of, because I was once there,
Digging people into holes.
digging myself into a hole.
Okay.
But which hole?
I'll let that be. Just leave that to your imagination.
Stay tuned for the next podcast where we find out which hole Pat got himself into.
I feel like like a white people, they maybe it's the way they're brought up, but
They learn to have that balance.
that balance exactly. Even when they get a relationship, it's like it's cool. They want to get in a relationship, but it's not all they see in life. They value friendships, relationships, family, all on sort of an equal level.
Yeah, they don't overemphasize one particular relationship or thing. Some people care about friends more than their significant other, or vice versa, or some. It's like a balance. I don't know.
That's such a
I think it. Yeah. Again. I don't know.
you can slam me any of them.
Oh, I'll slam you. What you see is what you get.
What do you think, Dennis?
Yeah, you haven't said much in a while, Dennis.
About what? About just how people shut off.
No. Enough about shutting off. Let's talk about opening, spreading instead. Do you like my choice of words? Just opening and spreading.
Like chlamydia.
No comment. No
I'm
comment.
gonna give you a courtesy laugh.
Why, thank you, Pat. Thank you.
Always said it's
I mean, as I said before, I'm a shy guy, so I don't really go out there. I don't get out of my way to really meet people. I mean, of course, my circle of friends has changed since when I went to high school or when I went to university. Talking to people more that I hadn't talked to back then, but that's just because, your life changes, their lives change. It's about timing. Meeting people and keeping relationships is all about timing. And wanting to keep them around. There's a lot of people, as you were saying, a lot of relationships just fall apart because, something else happens in their life and, they neglect others, Meeting people is sort of the same thing. If my circumstances change and I don't want to be single, now, then I'd go out and meet girls, It's all about, where you are in life and whether or not it's available to you to meet people.
Have any of you guys played The Sims?
Yeah.
Yeah, and you know how you've got a dozen different bars that you've got to maintain and keep topped off to ensure that your sim lives happily. You've got work, you've got social, you've got hunger, etc., hygiene. That's one way we could think about it. But just on a social level, social plane, you got family, you got relationships, you got friends, you got workplace, blah 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 blah, and they're all bars in the sim game that you got to top off.
That's a good way of putting it.
Hey man, you gotta stay green. You gotta get that green bulb above you. You don't want that shit to turn red.
Yeah, you don't want to.
Okay, has this ever happened to you? Where you meet somebody, right? And you can talk to them about something deep or something really, really intense, right?
Yeah.
And it's because you have absolutely no idea who they are that you can't talk about them. Have you ever had that sensation where it's sort of
You mean like a chat room, Dennis?
No.
Chat roulette.
We're not playing chat roulette
Dennis
or
is a
Omegle.
frequent visitor of chat roulette.
I'm not
you may or
whipping
may,
it out.
You may or may not have seen Dennis's body parts at some point in time. But yes, going back to what you were saying.
My idea is that my idea is that because there's some sort of power of being anonymous, that you don't know this person, they don't know you. You're free to talk about whatever you want. You're free to discuss.
Going by that logic, did you talk to strangers then? You don't know them.
Yeah, sometimes
About
anything. Whatever's.
Well, give me an example, like a recent one or one that you can remember.
A
Don't say how was your day. That's not
A
real
recent one
conversation.
was. A recent one is. What are you doing here on a Monday night? Because I was drinking.
That was the first thing you said to them.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so they told me they were after work drinks, and then they asked me the same thing, and I was sort of like, oh yeah, I'm just here getting some alcohol, really just getting to rid of the mundane, boring existence that is the weekday.
Dennis's answer was, being an alcoholic.
Yeah, pretty much.
After work drinks, weren't you? Being an alcoholic.
Training on every other weekday.
Exactly.
For what it counts.
Or was it actually a conversation, or was that it?
No, you got into a conversation of it was a fucking weird conversation of
Sounds like
where-
you didn't enjoy it.
where you're heading in life, right? I think
Wait, at this point, I have to get more context. Were either of you intoxicated?
no, not to
Okay,
the extent
okay.
that we would be like, oh, no.
Okay.
But it went to this we got to this weird topic of what you expect out of life, what you want to do out of life, what is your purpose for living, you know? And I was being like the very safe, shy person I was saying like I'm very complacent with where I want to be. Like I want to get to a state where I can just be like happy doing what I'm doing, you know? And
So you were lying out of your teeth.
not really. Actually, that's being quite honest. I'd much. It doesn't take much to please me, and I'm quite happy being complacent with things. I'm not the type that's ambitious, and you've known me for a while. I'm not the type that's overly ambitious.
Nah, I've seen hints of it,
You've seen hints of it,
and I think you can.
I can be, but
Just haven't found your
overall,
calling.
yeah, I haven't found the goal yet for me to be passionate about, you know. And so we talked about that, and then they talked about a really weird mantra. He asked me what my mantra for life was, and my mantra for life was just to find happiness, you know. And I
Your
said
mantra was what?
mantra, like way of living, is to just find happiness.
Okay.
Right? And he said his way is to destroy everything and then to recreate everything. That was his
Sounds
mantra
like
for
he's
life.
got some god complex thing going on.
Yeah, I honestly think he did. He was a really weird
Sounds like-
character.
that's fucking psycho. Was his name Tyler Durden?
No,
Did he look like Tyler Durden?
no. Actually,
He looked like
he had
Tyler
a bit of
Durden.
he had a bit of a goatee going on.
Real life like him.
But like,
Did he invite you to a club that began with F?
that's rule number one,
The
Henry.
fuck club? I don't know what to tell you about.
But like, we talked about something that I probably wouldn't talk to people I consider friends, you know, about. Like what?
Why? Because you're afraid, or not afraid? Is it because you know that your friends that you do talk about this with won't be able to carry the conversation, or what?
Like, I know that some of them won't be able to carry the conversation. I know that some of them would not have ever thought about it before, you know.
All the more reason to
Or-
talk about it.
Or
Exactly.
I know some people who choose to ignore the question. They know about the question and it makes them uncomfortable.
They can't handle
think
the
about
truth.
No, I mean they're all from all different walks of life, you know. You can't.
The walk of life that can't handle the truth. Sorry. Sound like a big dickhead.
You
Go
are
on,
a big
go
dickhead,
on,
man.
go on.
That's a real dick move. But like, you can't talk to everyone about everything. Is what I'm saying. And there was this sense of complete anonymity. Like I had no idea who he was. He had no idea who I was. And yet we talked about something that was quite powerful, you know? And I'm never going to see him my rest of my life. I don't give a shit who the fuck he is.
So did you get anything out of that conversation?
Other than an awkward and strange
Did you get his
experience-
number?
No, I didn't
Did
pick
he
up.
get your number?
No, he didn't pick up.
Missed opportunity. What was the point of that conversation then?
Hey man, you're the one that asked. You asked
Yeah.
for the most recent occurrence of
Yeah,
this,
yeah.
and I told you, like, that's why I'm like asking. Have you ever had that sense where you talk to somebody and it's free? You're free to talk to them about anything because you know you will never see them, or you know there's low chance that you'll see them.
Again,
Yes,
I talk about
Henry.
everything, regardless,
Yes, you talk about everything.
regardless of if I
Sorry.
see them again or not. I'll talk about it.
What? Okay, I'll ask Pat. Have you ever had the situation where you meet somebody, it's highly unlikely you guys will ever meet again, so you have this freedom to talk about anything and everything.
So yeah, well, was this anonymity a facilitator or a enabler of sorts for you?
Not particularly.
We know
Like,
Pat doesn't go to chat roulette. Right? He doesn't get any kicks out of that.
For me, that thought never comes to my mind really. Like, I haven't had enough experiences, I guess, but I wouldn't see that as a chance for me to talk about anything that I want to. It sort of really depends on where the conversation goes, and that's when I can know how I'll lead the conversation next, or how I will build upon what they're leading the conversation to. So it's really dependent on who it is. So I don't know. But what I can say is, when I talk about my problems, it's easier for me to talk my problems with people that I don't really know that well. So friends that I know are not strangers, but people who are not directly related to the problem.
Well, I mean,
that's
the reason it's
Are you saying your friends are your problem?
the main reason that
they would judge me. I feel like they would judge me.
you feel as if they're gonna judge you, and it's not just that. It's also the fact that it's also the fact that if you talk to them about it, you know, you're gonna be worried that when you see them next, they're gonna ask you about your problems, or like you're gonna continuously see them, and it's gonna be a reminder of your problem, you know. So that's why you talk to somebody that's slightly more distant, you know. And I mean, it's the same thing with I have the same thing. Like I've recently gotten to talk to Ivan more often, you know, and I've known the guy for like years, but we never really talked. But then like we just met up one night, and we just talked about shit. We talked about our problems, and that was like what solidifies friendships.
Yeah, and whereas you had many years to mull over it, I did it in 100th of the time.
Well,
I'm just saying. I'm getting to the main point that just do it. That's all I'm saying, because it's exactly the fucking same. Like fast track.
Yeah, but I'm telling you, not everybody's comfortable with doing it like that.
No, but I'm saying like I'm trying to make them comfortable, because
you can't force somebody.
I'm trying to explain some situations where obviously you think of all the worst parts, or you think of the horrible scenarios that could play out. You think of that negatively, but at the same time you need to weigh it up for the positive, or the potential for that positivity at the same time. Look at it in perspective, weigh it up. We'll try to, at least in a logical sense. Don't just fucking think about, but what if the bad, you know, like, also think, it could be bad, or it could be also maybe like an off chance a good thing as well, you know. And I just tend to, as we all know by now, tend to go along that positive line of thought. And if it does end up in a shitstorm, I'm like, lol, guess that didn't turn out well. And that's not a deterrent at all.
Sometimes you just have to laugh.
Sometimes you just gotta laugh. Sometimes you just gotta.
That's his mantra right there. That's his mantra right there. Sometimes you just gotta laugh. Yeah. Directly in that tone as well.
You gotta
show those teeth of yours. Tan.
You gotta gamble big to win big.
Like in retrospect, in hindsight, I do feel stupid for
not being as open,
for not being as open with my close friends as I can be. You know, like you build up this relationship with them, and like logically, it feels like you should be able to talk about deeper things and your problems with those you're closer with. But then, I don't want to. Number one, I don't want to burden them. Number two, I'm not comfortable with opening that side of me, that vulnerability that makes them judge me in a way that I've never been judged before. And it's really you know, it sounds really
very counterintuitive.
Counterintuitive,
but it feels comfortable. It feels comfortable to do such a thing.
But even so, that's what I've been doing. And like I'm sort of feeding off Henry's sort of mantra and outlook on life now, and I think to myself, fuck that.
Yeah, that's right.
How they would feel and being a burden on them. You know, maybe I should try it. Maybe I should just open up. And maybe,
like again, like use it as a test. Like use it as.
If you open up and they stick around, that means that they're true friends. You know? Like that's why Henry's mantra works, right? As I said, it's not for everyone. That's the thing. Yeah. Some people just aren't ready for it.
Like I'd like to think that my openness and you know, my outward nature, like what you see is what you get kind of thing. I'd like to think that comforts people to some extent, for those who are less outgoing stuff, because they know that, you know, they don't have to worry, what if Henry judges me, because they know that this is the way I'm always am gonna fucking be. So in my being that kind of you know, open, it kind of encourages them to be open. That's my hope, at least. And in some cases, in some examples, you know, that I can recall, that has been the case, and that's good, and everybody's all the better for it. So even though sometimes I do what I do because I do it for myself, like I don't give a fuck. At the same time, I feel like it also benefits others indirectly, and that's fucking great. Hence, YOLO slang.
420 blaze it. Blaze it?
And in some ways it kind of reaffirms my approach of the way that I am when these people do reciprocate on that other level. When they open up to me, that return, and I was like, oh, well, fucking shit. Like, I just opened up something here, and then now there's something here, kind of. If that makes any sense, I planted seeds, and now it's blossoming.
So think of it this way, Pat. Like, if you do start taking on Henry's mantra and like start talking to your friends more openly, think of it this way: that you're re-meeting them for the first time.
That's a fun way to think about it. Yeah.
So like now you're getting a new take on who they are, or like you're actually learning like what do they think about this topic, right? Or what do they think about your problems? Because you've never asked them before. It's sort of like something new, and it's sort of like re-meeting them for the first time.
That can be your go-to excuse, or not excuse, but like that can be your like reason. Yeah, reason. Like, oh, well, Pat, why are you saying this? Why are you behaving like this? Well, why are you whatever? You're like, just because I've never done it before, and we've known each other for this long. Like that is your kind of plausible deniability. Like you're kind of like eject button, if you will. You're kind of like safe exit. And yeah, fucking go for it. and report back your findings. Report back how people react or how you re-engage. Like if you construct or if you like reconnect with these people on a deeper level, and obviously better for it, good for both of you. Like do it, see how it goes. Like treat it as some kind of social experiment, if you will. That's your homework.
But like thinking about it now, people get close with me. I don't get close with others because of that. Because I keep.
So are you the rock that everybody comes to and like the shoulder to cry on, and therefore you have no shoulder to cry on?
More so than the inverse.
Yeah.
I feel. So just like you reaching out to me.
I reached out to you because I thought you were like handsome.
I thought you could be a model.
well, Henry, I already know that. Like, please.
But I do so much better feeding off other people's vibe and energy, and usually it's them confiding in with me that builds our relationship more so than the other way around.
But our relationship's a two-way street. Like, I mean, I've been in a ton of relationships, like tons of friendships that were all fed off their negative emotions and me being the guy that like would listen. I've had like so many relationships that are based off of that. But I mean, where are all of them when I'm feeling shit? I can't talk to anyone about it because I feel like I'm the rock that they lean on. And so I definitely know where you're coming from, but it's so much more of a relief when you can talk to everyone openly about it. And it's more about you accepting your problems as well. Like, you make them concrete by letting everyone know. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because I've had the exact same experience. You know exactly what I'm talking about, right? So...
Wait, reiterate your point again. I zoned out for a bit. Something about these rocks, you said. You being the rock
I
and
was
everybody.
basically saying that...
You're Geodude.
Basically. No, I'm Golem. Like, basically what I was saying was that you feel like you're the linchpin.
Unacceptable.
No.
Sorry to cut you off. Keep going.
You think that you're the linchpin in your group of friends, that you're the guy that holds everybody emotionally together, and they all lean on you, right? But you have nobody to lean on, and then you feel sort of vacant at that. So I'm just trying to say that if you're having this issue of being open, it definitely helps being open with those people. And if they really, you're going to make yourself vulnerable, yes, but if they really are your friends, they'll stick around anyway. And then you can re-meet them and see them in a different light. You're constantly re-meeting your friends, like every single interaction is different, Just think about it that way, like, the Henry I see now is different to the Henry I saw last week.
In terms of...
Well, I mean, just in terms of what's happening in your life.
things are changing. That's why we say
So,
the
like,
mundane,
actually
boring
speak
things.
about, like, what do you mean? Like, concrete examples.
Concrete example.
Yeah, I'm digging now. Digging. Just so I know that you actually know what you're saying. And also for me to realize this point. It's for my own growth as well.
Well,
Like, what do you mean?
basically, what I'm trying to say is that your mentality might change week to week, month to month, year to year. And me constantly approaching you and asking you how you are and what you were doing, even though they seem like mundane things, are still things for me to gauge whether or not you're still Henry, whether or not things have changed in your life, circumstances have changed. Have you met a girl? Am I going to start like smashing you up because you're like, or like hung up over a girl but you can't talk to her or some shit?
Nah.
Hey man, it happened before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Never again. Nah.
But like, I mean, things change in your life, right? And this is the part of the like something that you should probably see as well. Like, it's not something that's
I always
completely.
feel like I'm changing for the better.
Yeah, I mean, you feel
I never felt like, well, I in recent times, from what I can remember, it's like, I don't know, past few years, I've always felt like I've been changing for the better.
But
That's my own perspective.
at the same time, have you lost friends or gone out of touch with friends in that time?
Yeah,
You must have, right?
yeah, and I'm okay with that.
No, you're okay with that. But what I'm
I
saying
wouldn't
is
have
that
it any other way. I wouldn't go back.
what I'm saying is that you've lost friends and you've made new friends.
Yeah,
And that's because you're constantly reevaluating who classifies as being friends. And they're constantly evaluating who's classifies as being friends. Circumstances change. People change.
yeah.
And then, therefore, what my point is that they're still different people. Like, week to week, month to month, year by year. They're different people. And you're re-meeting them constantly.
Unless if they don't want to meet you.
Yes. In which case, they've already changed. And therefore, they're not friends. But, like that's what I was trying to get at.
Whatever. Let's do a sign off before they kick us out.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's some really good points that we've kind of talked about. As unstructured and all over the place as it is, I hope you guys who do listen can make some sense out of all this.
Life is difficult.
Life is difficult.
Game is hard.
Game is hard. But yeah, no. As always, I'd like to thank my guests to take the time out and talk about these things with me. They might not necessarily be, comfortable topics or even easy topics, but of course, yeah, I always appreciate them speaking what they can about it.
Henry, there are no uncomfortable topics. You just said it
Yeah.
yourself like 10 times.
Yeah, I know. I said it more for you guys than for me. So for the 10th time, you can talk to me about anything. Like, I don't give a fuck. Like, you can actually talk to me about anything, and I'll spin it in some positive way, no matter how fucked up it is. That's my special power, I'd like to think sometimes.
Your superpower.
Yeah. But no, thank you, Pat. Thank you, Dennis. Any closing thoughts, like final words that you guys want to say to I guess, cap it off, round it up tonight? Anybody want to go first? Dennis?
The key to happiness is constant evaluation. And what I mean by that in terms of this topic is constantly figuring out who your friends are and meeting people, constantly evaluating whether they are your friends. Because everything changes and you got to re-meet people sometimes.
Pat, good point.
I'm just gonna say something that's cliche. Life is short, and recently I've really thought about that a bit more, and I want to change the approach to which I approach some things in life now, and do it without worrying too much about what others
The
think.
insignificant consequences.
Insignificant consequences, but of course to be sensible with the decisions, but not limit myself as to what I can do and what I can achieve through thinking about those insignificant consequences. So yeah, just a very relevant saying. Life is short. So.
It's good to see that you're blossoming, Pat. I want to be the sunlight that makes you blossom into a beautiful flower or rose.
I thought he was already handsome. So
You can never be too handsome. That is true. I guess my closing thoughts for this topic about meeting new people, whether it's friends or fucking family or work, or what have you, strangers, complete strangers. My closing thought is,
YOLO swag.
Yeah, YOLO
20
swag.
blaze it.
sometimes you just gotta YOLO. No, but to be more eloquent about it, take that plunge. You got nothing to lose. Go out there, meet people. There's more to gain than there is to lose, in my very personal and honest opinion. I could just keep spouting proverbs and platitudes here, like, oh, variety is the spice of life. Yeah, meet new people, expand your horizons, blah blah blah, all that cool jazz. But yeah, just go out there, do something different, and you might be much happier for it. You never know. And yeah, it's now 12:16 a.m. and I guess this concludes the second episode of Chinese Whispers. Man, it was a fucking bitch to get this second recording happening, because it was really difficult to get you guys to, have that coinciding schedule, that schedule that works for everybody. But we did it.
I think it's a good episode.
I hope so too. I really hope you guys do too. Alright, say bye guys.
See you guys.
If you can rap, you can sing in my voice. Like nothing else. If you can rap, done. It's all good.